Hi, my name is Mary Feaster, and today I'm going to be talking about my statement on education policy. I'm going to be focusing on 4 different topics that are issues in our PK-12 public education system. The first one I'm going to talk about is standardized testing. I strongly believe that standardized testing should be decreased at the very minimum. All in all, I do think that standardized testing should be gotten rid of, but at this point, I think it needs to be decreased. That's a place to start. As stated in Spring's book, Congress needs to allow teachers to set high standards for all students on an individual basis rather than allow political considerations to set the educational agenda. I think, we're constantly being told that we need to differentiate our instruction to meet each child's needs. And when we teach to the test and we stick to that standardized curriculum set of ideas and ideals, we're lacking that area of differentiating to the child's needs. Standardized testing can stunt a child's growth and squash their love for learning. It prohibits the teacher from those teachable moments and reduces the amount of exploration and inquiry-based learning. Throughout my years as a teacher and throughout my years as a graduate student at Millersville, I've learned a lot about inquiry-based learning and exploration and how important that is to foster a love for learning and how that makes a child want to learn for the rest of their life, not just learn what they need to for the test and then forget that information. When we take that away and we focus on just teaching to the test, we're losing that love, that passion for learning, and we're stifling their growth. By prescribing what knowledge is to be taught, curriculum standards can undermine students' freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kinds, regardless of frontiers, either orally, in writing, or in print, in the form of art, or through other media of the child's choice. If teachers teach to the test, these freedoms are further restricted. So again, as I said above, we are restricting their thoughts, their ideas. We are then taking away those, teachable moments where they are curious about something and we can elaborate on it. We're kind of stifling that love for learning. Governance structure. So from the local to the global, there's a diversity of educational ideologies, which we read all through Spring about. The local government differs in their thoughts to the state government, to the federal government. Everyone is different. Even local to local governments are different. They have different ideologies. So as Dr. Davis shared with us in her school funding formula overview video, funding for schools mainly comes from 3 places: the federal, the state, and the local government. In Pennsylvania, the breakdown is as follows. The federal government contributes 3%, state 34%, and local 57%. All in all, this puts us at 43rd out of 50 in state funding, which is not great. So as discussed in Spring's book, The Politics of American Education, we learned that most of the major decisions in regards to curriculum and teaching methods have been taken over by the state government, but the state government isn't providing an appropriate amount of funding with that much of an influence. Right now, such a large percentage comes from the local. Our districts vary greatly in the amount of funding that their schools receive. So if it's a local government where there is, high tax dollars, that district is going to have more funding than a district in a poorer area. This, creates inequity. It's a huge problem. So I believe that the state funding needs to increase, especially in Pennsylvania, in order to make the funding a little bit more equitable from district to district. The voucher program. This is something that I've read a lot about. It's not something I had a whole lot of knowledge on before taking this class, and I've found that it's a very interesting topic. So vouchers promote a parent's right to choose a public or private school at public expense and for-profit education. Vouchers promote competition between schools and attract quality educators. They also allow parents an alternative to their child having to attend the school in their zip code if it's not a school that is highly regarded. This way of thinking is promoted by the conservative political parties. What I find most interesting about the voucher program is not so much whether it should be allowed or not. I think it's more if it's going to be there, then it needs to not discriminate based on special needs. So many of the things that I've read about or the videos that I've watched about it, say that they don't provide those special education services that a public school does. They're not required to, which I don't think is acceptable. I think if you're going to have a voucher system, then it needs to be fair and all schools need to be providing the same appropriate services for everyone, regardless of what your needs are. So I think one way to improve the voucher system is to make it fair for everyone, and it should be inclusive of everyone. Music and arts education. So in Spring's book, the Green Party strongly believes that the quality of life is determined not only by material aspects that can be measured and counted, but also by elements that cannot be quantified. We believe that artistic expression and a thriving structure of art institutions are key to community well-being. Now, whether or not you agree with the Green Party and their ideals, I think that this is a really important quote because our quality of life isn't just measured by math or reading or writing. There are so many more things that our life involves and encompasses, as we live our life as human beings. Music and art education provides a more holistic approach to teaching the whole child, not just those key reading, writing, math, reading, writing, arithmetic. Music and arts education touches on things that maybe kids have inside them, that maybe it speaks to them more. I think the funding should be provided so that all schools and all students can be exposed to music and the arts. I love this quote from Mike Huckabee. You'll never have music and arts in the schools if you don't mandate it, because what you mandate, you will fund, because you have to. It's the law. You find the funding because you have to. I think this is really important. We need to find the funding for this, because I think so many kids, again, are losing their love for learning because maybe art is where they have that outlet at school to express themselves or express something that's going on at home that they can't do in reading or writing or math. I think, again, it teaches to the whole child. And I think it makes for more well-rounded individuals, not just in school, but in life and in their future careers. I think it just makes for a more well-rounded human being. So I appreciate your feedback. I think these 4 topics are really important, and I think they require us to dig deeper and see what we can do as a human race to improve them.